You know what that sound means? It's another episode of Game for a Movie where we ask, are you game for a movie? My name is Mike. I will be your host this evening. We have an interesting bad movie tonight. Interesting in the fact that I think it's a decent concept, just very poorly executed. But of course, we're going to get into more details of that soon. First, we got to dive into what are we drinking. Some of you may know that I have partnered with Row 94 Bourbon. Row 94 Bourbon is a fantastic bourbon, especially at its price point. It is made by Dierks Bentley, one of the best country artists out there, one of my favorite musicians out there, and he has 3 different bourbons at this time. All of them are fantastic. I wouldn't say this if I didn't truly like it. There is no reason, I'm not getting paid to say this right now. I legitimately just like the bourbon. I think this is a great bourbon, and it is truly a fantastic bourbon for what you are paying. It is a cheap price point for bourbon, as well as it's just a good everyday bourbon. So I made an old fashioned with it, and I'm not going to be too worried about the hangover because if I drink just a little too much, I also have a deal for you based on liqueur gummies. Liqueur gummies, they will help you on that feeling crappy feeling if you drank just a little too much the night before. If you use code GFAM for your liqueur gummies, they are going to help you prevent that hangover. Just use that code GFAM and you can save 20% off your order of liqueur gummies. Prevent those hangovers so you are feeling fine the next morning. Okay, as I said before, we're going to talk about a movie that I think has an interesting concept, just fell flat in the execution. This was supposed to come out a couple weeks ago. I've been busy, just flat out, that's what it's been. I have gotten busy with a couple things with our son, a couple things with work, a couple things with life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all that good stuff. So this was supposed to coincide with The Bride coming out. Unfortunately, just didn't happen at the right time. That being said, it's happening now. This is I, Frankenstein. I, Frankenstein came out in January of 2014. It is an hour and 32 minutes long. It is a movie about, obviously, Frankenstein's monster. It deals a little more... How do I say this? It's a little more about a superhero Frankenstein's monster is what I will say. Let me give you the Rotten Tomatoes quick description. 2 centuries after Dr. Frankenstein assembles and reanimates his creature, Adam is still living. He becomes embroiled in a war between 2 immortal races, gargoyles, the traditional protectors of mankind, and evil demons. Since Adam is neither human nor demon, Gargoyle Queen Leonore and Demon Prince Nibarius each want him for their own purposes. It is up to Adam to discover his inner humanity and the reason for his continued existence. Like I said, interesting concept. I like the gargoyle point and everything like that. We'll get into all of that and everything. Here's where it falls short. It is a 5% critic score and a 38% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Truthfully, I think the audience score is a little high. The critic score, I think we'll say, is a little low. I don't think it's necessarily a 5%. If I were to give a number to start off, I'd say probably 16, 17% probably. That feels about right. But yeah, so 5%, 38%, that's where it falls. This movie had a $65 million budget? Yes, $65 million budget. That's an estimation. The gross in US and Canada was $19 million. Not great. The gross worldwide was about $801 million. So $76,801,179. So it made its money back, kind of. Yeah. It was produced by Lionsgate. It filmed mostly in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. It's got a pretty good cast. I will say that. There's a lot of people you would recognize. and it falls into the category of action, fantasy, sci-fi. I will say that normally this does not do things for me. I am not usually a fantasy sci-fi person, so this is a little tough for me. I'm not going to lie. So I may be a little harsher on this than somebody that likes those kind of things might be. We'll see what you think of it. The director is Stuart Beattie, and he also was one of the writers. Stuart Beattie is an interesting person as far as it comes to writing. He has a lot of weird ones, but the thing he mostly hit on is he is one of the writers of the Pirates of the Caribbean series. He wrote the screen story for The Curse of the Black Pearl and then basically has been like a characters writer for the rest of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He also wrote Collateral, 30 Days of Night, Australia, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, and then he wrote and directed both this and Tomorrow When the War Began from 2010. Those are his only directing credits. He had a co-writer on this one. That co-writer is, I'm going to say this wrong. I'm going to try my best. Here we go. Kevin Grevioux. Grevioux. Something a little more like French, probably. Kevin is more of an actor, I would say, than he is a writer. He has a few writing credits to his name, a lot of smaller things, most of which are the Underworld movies. He wrote the story for the original Underworld and then was a character writer for a lot of those. He also has written a couple episodes for like Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, Young Justice he wrote an episode for, and then he did the screenplay and directed King of Killers and War Dogs with a Z. So, yeah. But then he has 65 acting credits as well to his name. And of course, there's a writing credit as well for Mary Shelley, as she so rightly deserves for writing the original Frankenstein novel. This movie stars Aaron Eckhart, Bill Nighy, Miranda Otto, Yvonne Strahovski, and Jay Courtney. Those are the big names in this one. There's a couple other people that are in this. Not many people that you'd recognize after that. Those are the big names that take up most of the screen time, honestly. I'm going to say those are the ones that you see on screen majority of the time. Like you see some of these other people, but truthfully, if you're going to see a character on here, it's one of those 5 pretty much. And before we get started talking about this movie, just a little fun fact. I actually rented this from our library, and I let it go 3 days past its due date. So I actually did pay a little bit of money for this. It's going to be a small fee. It's not going to be a lot, but I did actually pay a little money to watch this train wreck. All right, so let's get started talking about this movie so you do not have to watch it. First note I have is there was a commercial on here. Like I said, I got the DVD. There was a commercial on the DVD for fearnet.com, and I wanted to see where this takes you. Unfortunately, the website does not still exist. It takes you to Sci-Fi's network now, like the Sci-Fi network, which is a little disappointing, but it's fine. Sci-Fi, whatever. This movie was also widescreen on the DVD, which was kind of funny as well. We start on a mountain where we see a man carrying a body, and he is walking up this mountain. He is trying to destroy the creature. This is Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is played by a relative nobody. Not a big deal because he has like 3 minutes of actual screen time. The creature, of course, survives. He kills the creator's wife, runs to the north, and when the creator runs to chase after him, he dies in the cold, freezes to death. So then the creature takes him to his family's graveyard and buries him. And this is where the story truly begins. And if you feel like that was a lot, real quick, it was. It happened quickly. Like in a minute and a half, this happened. And it was all done over with like some exposition. So it happened real quickly. It just assumes you know the story of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. Like you know it right off the bat. You know everything that happened. So Frankenstein tried to kill the monster. Monster got away, killed Frankenstein's wife. Frankenstein chased after it, froze to death, and now we're here. So the monster tried to bury Frankenstein in the family's graveyard, and now there are some beings that are watching him bury Frankenstein in the graveyard. And these 3 beings, we don't know what they are, but at first they are stronger than the monster. But he is able to like dismantle one of them. And when he does so, there's like these gargoyles that appear and they kind of come to life. And those gargoyles are able to handle like the other 2. And these gargoyles then turn to humans and start talking about why Nibirius and the demons wanted this creature or wanted this human. They think it's a human at first. They then learn that it's not a human, it's Victor Frankenstein's creation. So they bring back the creation. They take it with them to their Majesty, Miranda Otto, or Leonore. So Leonore is the gargoyle queen. Leonore is Miranda Otto, as I said. The monster, by the way, I didn't say it, but it's Aaron Eckhart. And the 2 gargoyles, their names are Ophir and Kezia. Those 2 are kind of important, but not really. They're nobodies in the acting world. I can give you a little bit of what they've done, but truthfully, they haven't done a whole lot besides like this movie. The guy who played Ophir was in the Marco Polo TV show for 20 episodes and also has been The Witcher for 18 episodes as Vilgefortz. I haven't watched The Witcher, so I actually couldn't tell you. But he's Vilgefortz of Roggeveen. If that means anything to you, I'm sorry if I butchered that as well. Like I said, I have not watched The Witcher, so don't hate me. The person who plays Kezia, for her, she was in Smile as Laura Weaver. She's been in a couple things here or there. Like I said, it's probably the big thing was she was Laura Weaver in Smile, but other than that, she's been in a few TV shows here or there for like a couple episodes. Mayans MC, like Motorcycle Club. She was in 4 episodes of that. That's probably the 2 things you may know her from. She plays Kezia. That's Caitlin Stacy. And Ophir was Mahesh Jadu. Again, I'm trying not to butcher these names. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. Gideon, the right-hand man to Leonore, that's played by Jai Courtney, he wants to kill it, but Leonore wants to keep him alive. Leonore is giving like a rundown of what the Order of the Gargoyles is. Basically, it's this organization that was created by the Archangel Michael, and it's to protect humans from demons and to stop the war. And so this is to protect humans from demons, stop the war that may happen, and make sure that the demons don't gain control of Earth. Leonore also knows that the monster never had a name. She wants to call the monster Adam and believes that he has a higher purpose, and also knows that he killed Frankenstein's wife, but believes it was out of passion, like didn't know how to control himself, didn't know what to do, decided he wanted to kill because he was just so mad at the world and didn't know what to do. So he kind of is like going along with the motions and everything like that. So Keziah and Ophir give him the rundown of what the gargoyles do. And they tell him that like sacramental objects are the only things that can kill demons. And any object can be made sacramental by marking them with the blessed symbol of the gargoyles. Adam, of course, asks how to kill a gargoyle. And they're just like, no, we're not going to tell you that. But they give him weapons. And as he's looking around the room, he takes these like crude ones that are like very heavy. And he takes like these blunt ones. So they're kind of like, okay, you don't want to take these beautiful ones. You want to take the blunt, crude ones that are heavy to wield. Got it. So he takes these weapons and then he like walks away. And Gideon, we also get that he doesn't trust or like Adam. Leonore is kind of like, I know you don't trust him, but maybe get to learn his history and has this book that was created by Victor Frankenstein about his whole process of creating Adam. And so she's like, this proves that God is not the sole creator of man. Why don't you study this? Why don't you learn? And maybe we can understand Adam better. And after getting these weapons, Adam's like, cool, I'm out. I don't want to deal with you gargoyles anymore. I work alone. So he's done. He's just like, cool, I'm going to go. Bye. This all happened in like the 1790s. And now it's present day. And so he's just kind of been in like hiding for a while, like 200 years. And now Nefarious' demons are out finding him. But he's no longer hiding anymore. Now he wants to draw attention to himself. He's been like training or whatever. And his scars aren't as noticeable. They've kind of healed a little more. So like he still has them on his face. He's still like a monster. But he's like a little more handsome, I guess. I don't know. So he now wants to go out and find these demons before they find him, because he wants to get rid of them and make sure that they don't just like fuck up his day. So it's the first present day hunt that we get to see, and it's behind a nightclub, and it becomes like this chase scene on the rooftops. And what I've said is basically like he just hits these demons once and they become flame balls and like go back to the pit of hell. So what they were explaining to Adam was that gargoyles descend demons, and the demons try to ascend the gargoyles. So the gargoyles are trying to descend the demons to hell. The demons are trying to ascend the gargoyles to heaven. That's what they're trying to do. So the demons he's fighting are these like lesser demons. So that's why they're basically one hit and they're dead. The one he's chasing is a bigger deal. And so he runs off and gets to this fancy mansion, and it's just like surrounded by people. And this turns out to be demons. They're all demons and everything like that, but it's this fancy mansion. And then when Adam sees the mansion, he turns around and he's grabbed by a flying creature. And we don't see what this flying creature is. We just know it's a flying creature. So now it goes to a lab. And in this lab is Dr. Wade. And Dr. Wade is Yvonne Strahovski. And she is doing a demonstration for Mr. Wessex. We don't see Mr. Wessex. You hear the voice. It's obviously Bill Nighy. I don't know who they're trying to fake out here. Like, it's obviously him. But especially if you know he's in this movie, like it was easy enough, I think, even if you didn't know he was in this movie. Like it's very easy to know his voice. But basically, she's doing this experiment. She also is working with a partner named Carl. Carl's not that big a deal. She's just has this partner named Carl. He comes back later in the story. That's why you need to know about Carl. So Dr. Wade, her name's also Tara, just in case I confuse those two, Dr. Wade, Tara. I think I called her Dr. Wade pretty much throughout, but Dr. Wade, Tara. This experiment is a reanimation experiment. It's to bring something back to life. The experiment at first fails, and even though they're doing it on a rat, and even though this rat is dead, she kept like, bring the electricity up, bring the electricity up, bring the electricity up. And finally, like, it short circuits, and they're like, well, it didn't work. And then after like a couple seconds, it worked. The rat starts moving. It got brought back to life. So it kind of worked. They're like so happy because they finally had like a breakthrough. They have reanimated something from the dead. So this is good. This is what Mr. Wessex wants. This is what Dr. Wade has been trying to do. Great. Then Mr. Wessex gets told they have a situation, and so he walks off to his office. The situation is the demon telling him that he got attacked by a possible gargoyle. And Mr. Wessex is pissed because this demon didn't try to capture it because he knows it wasn't a gargoyle, it was Adam. And he knows it was like the creature he's been trying to get his hands on for over 200 years. And so the demon's like, I'm so sorry, Prince Naberius. Duh. Shocker, Mr. Wessex is Prince Naberius. And we also see that it's Bill Nighy. Both of a reveal at the same time. Then we get flown to a cathedral where the winged creature brings Adam, and he is immediately shackled up by the gargoyles. That's all we see in that moment. Basically, Adam's just shackled by the gargoyles. Now Wessex is back talking with Dr. Wade, and they're talking about Frankenstein and Victor Frankenstein. And basically, wouldn't it be nice if they could prove, like, if they could see his experiment, see his monster up close so that Dr. Wade could study the monster and learn how he was reanimated and learn about all the process and everything like that. And Dr. Wade's just like, but Victor Frankenstein was an old wives' tale. It doesn't really exist and everything like that. And Mr. Wessex is like, no, I can provide you the creature. And if I could do that, would you like to study it? And Dr. Wade's just like, yes, of course. If you can do it, sure. So Mr. Wessex wants to capture Adam to give to Dr. Wade to study, pretty much. So now we go back to the cathedral. The gargoyles are pissed because Adam is now fighting in the open versus in the shadows. And why they're pissed about that is because if the humans see, that would be bad. Like this is a war they've been fighting in the shadows. Like the humans aren't supposed to know about the demons, and they're especially not supposed to know about the gargoyles. So the gargoyles are pissed. And Leonore even says she wanted to destroy Adam at first, but she saw the potential in his eyes that a soul could be there. Like he could eventually get a soul there. And so she decided to spare him. And he kind of admits at this point that he doesn't feel like he belongs in any of the worlds. Like he doesn't belong in the human world. He doesn't belong in the gargoyle world. He doesn't belong in the demon world. And so that's why he goes alone and does his own thing. And so that's kind of like the whole reason why he's on this like vigilante mission. Now we go back to the mansion and we go to this guy, Zuriel. Zuriel is essentially Naberius's right-hand man. And Zuriel is explaining that he knows that Adam got picked up by one of the gargoyles and now knows that Adam is in the cathedral. And so they're going to lead a full-on charge at the cathedral. And Naberius is kind of like, we're going to lose a lot of demons. And he goes, I know, but if we get this monster, we can reanimate them and bring them all back. And so Naberius is just kind of like, good point. So Zuriel leads a full-on charge into the cathedral. So here is where I get to my first problem with this movie, and it's a problem that happens a lot during this movie. So like they lead into this battle, and like the gargoyles change into their gargoyle self, and they go into like this fight. So like the demons go and like actually storm the cathedral. And they show like the beginning of this fight where the gargoyles become gargoyles and then they go to fight them. And then they kind of like pan off, or they like have a camera that's like not necessarily looking at the battle. It'll be like looking over the top of it. So you don't see the battle, but you'll see like, so if the battle's happening in between two buildings, you'll be looking on top of the building, like on top of the buildings, and you'll just see the flame balls kind of exploding. Like you'll just see the light from it in between the two buildings. And it's totally like a trick to save money. And it drives me insane. Because it is very noticeable. It's not one of those like, I understand trying to save money sometimes. I understand that in certain movies and stuff like that. But like this is very apparent, like where they show you the beginning of the fight and then they don't actually show you the fight. And so like there's moments of it. You do see some of the moments of the fight, but for a lot of this fight you don't see a lot of it. A lot of it's focused on like the smaller parts of it, like Ophir and Keziah are protecting Adam because they're both in like the top of the tower in the cathedral, making sure that nobody gets to Adam. And so it's just like Adam trying to convince Ophir, like, Ophir, if you give me a weapon, if you free me, I can fight these things. I can help you. I can win this for us and everything like that while the fight's going on. Or it's focused on Gideon and his like two buddies talking about the fact that they need to protect Leonore no matter what happens, So there's a lot of those moments while a fight's going on. And even when this thing finishes, they mention at the end that they lost 16 gargoyles. 16. Like, it's not a huge number. But they don't have a lot of gargoyles, don't get me wrong. But it's like, you just lost 16 of them. It's not like it was a huge fight or anything like that. And they just don't show us half of them. And it's one of those things that just absolutely drives me nuts about this movie, because it happens multiple times where they kind of go off the main fight to not show you anything, whether it's money or it's just they think it's not important that you see it. Because there's one time where I would say they don't think it's important, maybe, but especially this time, it was very apparent. Like, they wanted to show you, oh, we'll show you these like fireballs flickering off the buildings, but not actually show you the fight. Well, like I said, Ophir and Keziah are defending Adam. And then Ophir, of course, swings a weapon towards Adam, but it's to free him from his binds. And then he gives a weapon to Adam. And Adam's just able to, like, hand-on-hand combat, like one of the safest, easiest fights to show that's cheap, and hit the demons one time and turn them into fireballs, and all of them are descended. He like gets rid of a majority of the demons that are in the cathedral. But both Ophir and Keziah ascend in the fight. And Keziah is like dying, and Adam is like trying to save her, and she's like, no, let me be together. This was forbidden by the order. Let me be together with Ophir. Like, we need to be together on the other side. So Keziah and Ophir both ascend in the fight. Gideon and the two others fly off to take out the millions of demons left, but they left Leonore unprotected. So Zuriel was able to like ambush around and get Leonore. And one of the demons that was left there is able to tell Adam that she was like brought to the Walton Theater and that he must exchange himself for her. And then Gideon and the two like other gargoyle bros, because that's what they really are, they're gargoyle bros. They get to another spot, and another demon is kind of like waiting for them and is just like, I have a message for you. Leonore's at the Walton Theater. You guys are idiots for leaving her unattended. So Gideon's pissed. He flies back to the cathedral, and he's kind of like in charge without Leonore. So he decides that he's going to go to the vault. The other two gargoyles are like, this is forbidden. Don't do it. And inside the vault is Frankenstein's journal, which Gideon grabs. Gideon flies over to the Walton Theater. And this is one of the things I will give this movie. This movie has had a lot of bad so far, like a lot of bad. This was one that was really cool. So Gideon flies as a gargoyle through the theater roof, lands, like swoops his wings, and he is Jai Courtney, like human version. And it actually was a pretty good transition. I actually thought that was a pretty cool one. That was one where I was like, okay, This was well planned. This is one of those things where you like see it on the storyboard and you're like, that went exactly how they wanted it to go. Like you saw the whole transition, everything. That was cool. So that one was pretty sick. So Gideon arrives like heroically. You see Adam is like hiding in the theater, and Gideon says he brought the journal in exchange for Leonore. Leonore's immediately like this is a bad idea. You see some like demons surrounding Gideon, and Zuriel tightens his grip around Leonore's throat. Adam's also listening in, and this is where he first discovers that this journal exists. He never knew this journal exists. So Gideon's like, I will give you the journal. Leave Leonore alone. Zuriel's like, deal. Throws her to the side. Gideon catches her, leaves the journal, and like Gideon flies off with Leonore. And Zuriel grabs the book, runs off. Adam starts fighting the demons that are in the theater, and he starts descending these demons. Zuriel's obviously got a head start, but Adam's able to follow him and is able to see Zuriel go to the secret lair, sees how he gets into the mansion, and then Adam's able to like descend one of the demons quickly, get into the secret lair, follow down to the secret part of it, and he's also able to see the handoff of the journal to Nibirius. So he knows Nibirius is Mr. Wessex. Like he knows. It's pretty obvious. It's not like it's going to be a secret later. There's not going to be some big reveal like, oh no, Mr. Wessex was Nibirius the whole time. He knows who it is. He lets them kind of like do their thing. He follows Nibirius to an elevator. Nibirius gets in the elevator. He's like, okay, I need to see where he's going. But then he sees that there's this curtain. And he walks through the curtain, and it's just this massive like area of pods and bodies in these pods. And like all these bodies are dead and just like waiting. And so he's trying to figure out like what's going on here. It's just these massive pods and bodies. And now Mr. Wessex Nibirius brings the journal to Dr. Wade. Back to the cathedral, Leonore is like having a full meltdown because now Adam knows about the journal, and she regrets not showing Adam the journal because now she knows he's going to figure it out about it. He's going to read it. He's going to see all this stuff, and he's never going to trust the gargoyles again. And Gideon's just like, we lost 16 gargoyles. Get a hold of yourself, woman. Dr. Wade is reading the journal, and she's learning through it while she's talking to Carl that electric eels is what brought the monster to life. And they're like, wow, if that's what brought it to life, I wonder what it would take to kill it. And this is when Adam kind of like walks through and sees that they're holding the journal. And like Adam's been sneaking through this facility the whole time, and he could easily get into the doctor's lab like by sneaking through. But instead, he sees the journal, he sees the doctor holding it, and just decides, screw it, breaking the glass. He sets off an alarm, and immediately a bunch of security come in. But Wessex comes in too, and he's just like, you could have just knocked. And like he's playing nice, and he wants to convince Adam to stay. And so they're like talking about it, and he's like, Mr. Wessex is like I said, playing nice. He's trying to convince him to stay. He wants him to be a part of this. He's not giving anything away. Like he's not saying you're trapped here. He's like actually trying to be like, look, you can sit with Dr. Wade. She may do some tests, but it's just kind of like to see how you work and operate and that kind of stuff. Like I'm not trying to do anything like this or that or anything like that. So it's not trying to be weird or creepy or anything like that. So then Mr. Wessex kind of reaches out a hand, and Adam grabs it, and then it reveals Wessex's demon eyes. Like his demon eyes come out. So Adam's like, nuh-uh, Nope. So Adam grabs the journal, jumps from the window, and crashes straight through the earth and hits the subway. So he ends up on the subway, and he starts reading the journal while he's on the subway. Zuriel and Dr. Wessex are outside the lab, and they're talking about what to do next. But Zuriel is confident that Adam is going to come back. And Mr. Wessex is just like, how are you so certain? How are you so certain? And this is when Dr. Wade walks out of the lab. And Zuriel's just like, Dr. Wade, there's nothing for you here now. You should go home. You should take a rest. And Dr. Wade's just like, no, we got to do all this work, all this and everything like that. We got to do all this work. And Mr. Wessex kind of sees what he's getting at and goes, no, you got to go home. You got to take a rest. And when she leaves, Zuriel goes, Adam's going to come for her because he can't make sense of everything in the journal. So now we know we've set up the trap. We're going to watch her. And so Dr. Wade is walking home, but she can sense that someone is on to her. Someone's watching. Who that is, what's happening, is going to have to wait for after a quick break. Because we did have a contest for who got our bad movie. And that is David Garrett of the Journey with a Cinephile podcast. We have his promo. Journey with a Cinephile is a horror movie podcast. He's also a member of the Independent Film Critics of America. So this guy knows his movies. Trust me, this is a film guy you want to know more about. You can follow his Twitter account at Buckeye from Mich, M-I-C-H. Yes, he is a Buckeye fan. We'll forgive him anyway. But you can follow him at Buckeye from Mich. It's David Garrett and the Journey with a Cinephile podcast. I do happen to have his promo, so I am going to play that, and I will come right back with more of I, Frankenstein after this quick break from our friend Journey with the Cinephile.
Do you love horror movies, both old and new? Are you the kind of cinephile who finds beauty in blood-curdling screams, atmospheric shadows, and the evolution of fear on film? Then you've just found your next obsession. Welcome to Journey with a Cinephile, a horror movie podcast where every week I deep dive into the dark corners of cinema, reviewing classic horror, modern nightmares, and everything in between. From the fog-soaked moors of Universal horrors to the neon-drenched nightmares of today's indie darlings, I explore how horror has evolved and what it says about us and why we just can't look away. Each episode features thoughtful reviews, deep dive discussions, and a celebration of horror's rich history. Perfect for longtime fans and curious newcomers alike. So whether you're a vampire aficionado, a slasher junkie, or someone just looking for their next scare, join me on the journey. Journey with a Cinephile, a horror movie podcast. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, David, for playing along. If you want your promo or a shout out in our next Bad Movie episode, make sure you are playing along at our Twitter at Game for a Movie. I post 3 hints that have nothing to do with the actual movie, except for maybe it's a plot point or it's a character or an actor in it, that kind of stuff. And if you are the first podcast to get it correct, we will play your promo or give you a shout out in the episode. Obviously, this time is Journey with the Cinephile. Next time it could be you. Make sure you're playing along. And you can be featured in episodes such as I, Frankenstein, which we are back with right now. So Dr. Wade feels like she is being followed, so she slips into a dark alley, and she finds out that Adam has been following her. And he explains that he went to her because there is a war between gargoyles and demons, and that her boss has been hunting him for over 200 years. Definitely not crazy. Like that makes complete sense, right? Like you'd be following her too. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So she, of course, is just like, yeah, sure, whatever. No, thank you. But he then sees that Zuriel is also following them. So he kicks a door open, barely away from them. So Zuriel hears it and knows exactly where to follow them. He also explains that there are corpses and that Wessex is going to make these human corpses demons. Like he's going to put demon souls inside these humans. This is the only right reaction. She goes, look, I'm guessing that reanimation process probably gave you brain damage, but I don't believe in these gargoyles and demons or whatever. As if on cue, Zuriel runs in and yells, Frankenstein! And then changes into his demon form immediately, which looks more like an alien than a demon, but it's fine, whatever. So now we fight in an abandoned warehouse. Gotta save on that set dressing. Like, we just go into an abandoned warehouse and we're gonna fight. I said it was good that Zuriel isn't dying with one hit, but they also just established that, like, it's going to take a lot to kill Adam. So, like, as they're fighting, I don't really feel worried for Adam because they just addressed it in the movie's logic. Like, it's going to take a lot to kill him. Zuriel does get the upper hand, and, like, he takes the journal. And so, like, he's standing over Adam, and he has the journal, and he is about to deal the killing blow. Again, I don't feel anything because, I don't know. Maybe because movie, maybe because they just established that he probably is not going to die. He goes, now that I have the journal, I don't need you alive. But Dr. Wade pops out of nowhere because Adam told her to run. She didn't run, but she pops out of nowhere and she goes, I need you to keep it alive. I need to study how its body functions. And this gave Adam just enough time to slip out like this tiny dagger that he had up his sleeve, and he stabs Zuriel, killing him. So Zuriel's dead. Dr. Wade was able to help Adam, and they go to this like tiny bad apartment that happens to have a sewing needle in it or sutures or whatever, and she stitches him up. So able to help the cut on his back. And, you know, just another stitch for our Frankenstein monster. So he has the journal. He's good, kind of. She understands now that there are demons in the world, and it's not just like he's making it up. He has brain damage. So we're good. Our heroes actually believe each other. They're kind of like working together. Cool. Adam explains they need to get to the gargoyles so the demons can't win. And she says, what about you? And he throws like a little pity party because he's different. And like, he's like, I'm a monster. I don't really fit in this world. And she gives the line, you're only a monster if you behave like one, which changes his whole output on life. He's like, I've never thought about that, pretty much. And so he tries to like thank her kind of in a weird way. And then she kind of like walks away awkwardly to like wash off the sewing needle or sutures or whatever it was. And then she kind of like tries to like say something, but before she can, he falls asleep. So, you know, it's one of those like, A, will they, won't they? But B, kind of one of those like, we missed our shot. We missed our awkward moment. So maybe next time. Well, while he's sleeping, she decides that she's going to read the journal and everything in it. So we don't get everything about the journal. We do get bits and pieces. The two things that we get from Dr. Wade reading the journal, these were the two important bits, I guess, were that he killed Frankenstein's wife, which she's kind of like about. She doesn't really trust him, thinks maybe he is a monster. And the second thing was that part of the reason he was pissed was because Frankenstein was supposed to create like a partner for him. And so she's kind of like, do you think I'm just going to like make you a partner? Which he says no, kind of. but not convincingly. It's not like a convincing, no, I don't think you're going to just like create me a partner. It's not a convincing answer if you want to know the truth. But that never gets brought up again, so I don't know. Well, so she's on edge. He's like, we need to get to the gargoyles. She's like, I will meet you, but I need to get Carl out of Wessex's mansion. And he's like, who the fuck is Carl? Because all of us forgot about Carl. And he's right to, because nobody remembered Carl. But he also goes, okay, fine, you can save Carl. So Dr. Wade calls Carl and tells him to meet her at the train station. And he's kind of like, what? Why? Why am I meeting you at the train station? We have so much work to do. We have, like, don't we have the journal? Don't we have, like, the monster? Aren't they getting us the monster? Like, that kind of stuff. And she's like, I can't explain. Just meet me at the train station. He's like, okay, fine. I'll be right there. Hangs up, turns around. Security shows up, of course, because they know that Carl is now going to meet Dr. Wade. So Adam's like, I am going to talk to Leonore about the journal and the fact that Nibirius can reanimate corpses and possess them with demons. Because all I want them to do is I want them to handle this issue, and then I'm going to get us out of here. So you go get Carl. I'm going to get us away out of here, and then we'll meet up and we'll get out of here. So that's the plan. Dr. Wade's going to meet Carl at the train station, and Adam's going to go find them a way out. Adam gives his tiny little dagger blade to Dr. Wade as protection, and then goes to the gargoyles. When Dr. Wade gets to the train station, Carl, they're like separated by like this like rain wall kind of thing, like it's a water feature kind of thing. And Carl's on the other side, and he like is going, I'm sorry, they caught me. And basically like the demons show up around Dr. Wade. She drops the tiny dagger blade on the ground, but now they have the journal that she had, and they have Dr. Wade. So they have the journal, they have Wade, they have Carl. Adam goes to Leonore and the rest of the gargoyles, and he's kind of like, they can reanimate corpses, they can possess them with demons if they get the journal or me. And why didn't you tell me about this journal? And she goes, I was protecting you. I didn't think it was important that you read that because there was nothing good that came out of it. And he's like, it was just my whole life, you know, blah, 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 whatever. It's fine. He's willing to forgive it because he now has a human that he cares about and he's protecting. I need you to get me, Dr. Wade, and Carl out of here, and then we'll never be a problem again. You guys can go about your war, and we will never be a problem to you again. And she's like, fine, get here, and we will get you out of there. As he leaves, Leonore says to Gideon, because Gideon's like, you let your emotions get the best of you. You let him push you around. You put us on the line, everything like that. And Leonore goes, no. Once they find the journal and Gideon gets it, you need to kill Adam. Oh, I'm wrong. So I was wrong. Sorry. The journal was left at the apartment. Sorry. That's wrong. So Wade is the only one. Wade and Carl are collected at the train station, not the journal. So Adam goes back to the apartment, recollects the journal from the crappy apartment, and then he kind of like hears something and is kind of like on edge, and then he gets attacked by Gargoyle Gideon. So he grabs like a fire axe from the wall, and it's on. And basically Gideon is just kind of like flying up outside of the building and then like choosing his moments and kind of like swooping in and attacking. Swooping in. And they basically destroy like an entire building as Gideon goes full gargoyle, like attacking from above. He plows through the walls and gets him. And then he plows him like straight through this hallway, like straight through. And they go and they fall like straight down. and they're falling towards a car, and Gideon's axe is facing towards Adam, but Adam is able to, while they're in the air, turn it towards Gideon. And at first we don't see anything, and then all of a sudden we see the light of like a gargoyle ascending. So we know that Gideon got jabbed by the axe. And Gideon like looks at him and goes, "God will surely damn you." And Adam goes, "He already has." So Gideon's dead. His sash falls because his body like ascends. His sash falls. Adam runs away. The remaining gargoyles see Gideon's sash and they bring it to Leonore. And they go to the cathedral. And like they're all standing around Leonore with the sash. Like, what do we do now? Gideon, our strongest soldier, is dead. And like Leonore gave the order. Like they all know this was Gideon. Like, you told him to kill Adam. We know it was Adam that did it. Adam gets to the train station. He finds like his small little dagger on the ground, and he knows that Dr. Wade has been captured. Like, this is the sign. Dr. Wade and Carl are with Wessex, and at first they're not going to help him. So Wessex just straight out chokes out Carl. Like, just straight up, Carl gone. And this, okay. Like I've said, this movie has a lot of bad. A lot. But this was fucking badass. He chokes out Carl, kills him. He looks at Dr. Wade and goes, "You want him back? Show me how." Like, the first guinea pig of your reanimation process is going to be Carl. So Dr. Wade is now working on the process for a human reanimation. And I think that the human is Carl. I really do. And as they're doing the one experiment up top, it is powering all of the pods underneath. So it is doing all of it at the same time. It is not just like one and done. It is powering all of it. Adam is reading the journal outside of the cathedral instead of, going to Wessex. And after he's done reading it, he now knows everything. He walks to the cathedral and he gets the attention of the gargoyle outside. And he like gets full attention, and then he leads them through the streets to the Wessex building. Like, he fully leads them there. And it's like 5 blocks away from each other. Like, this is not far. They're not going a huge distance. And once he sees it down the road, he takes off running because the gargoyles are trying to attack them. They think he killed Gideon with like nefarious purposes. So he like doesn't attack any of them, but he does like this stylish run to try to like avoid getting killed. And essentially like he uses one of them to like ride through into the gates. So he dodges one by like spinning off a car, and then he flips in the air and like grabs onto one and like pulls him and like gets him to crash through the gates. And so now they're in the compound of the Wessex mansion. And when they get through the gates, that's when the demons start like exiting into the courtyard, and the head of security says it's here, which Dr. Wade says him, not it. And the gargoyles are like on the building, and they now realize, oh shit, like this is the place, and the battle commences. And they start fighting in their human forms instead of their gargoyle forms. This is why I'm like, okay, so they ran out of budget? Like what's happening? And they also this is where I'm saying they decided maybe it wasn't important, because Adam walks into the building and we follow Adam. And like, yeah, he is the main character, don't get me wrong. But again, it's another battle we don't kind of see because we're focused on Adam versus like the battle outside, We do see a little bit. It does go back out. It does do a little bit of it. But again, it's the gargoyles are human, not their gargoyle selves. So, save money or whatever. Yeah. So he just waltzes into the lab with Nibirius. Dr. Wade tries to terminate the program so that they aren't going to bring back dead Carl and the millions of dead bodies underneath. But Nibirius has locked her out of it. And then he tries to stop her completely by throwing her into the chamber of where Carl is and the electricity from the program. But Adam launches, catches her, blocks her, and takes the electricity. And he starts to bleed. And this is only important because he's also kind of knocked out. It's important because Nibirius uses that blood to draw a satanic symbol on his head. And he starts doing a chant. He's going to fill his body with a demon. And what's also happening is Leonore and her two security gargoyles, the two security gargoyle bros, they go around the building and go underneath, and they find the pods, and they start destroying the pods. They're trying to destroy as many pods as possible so that they can kill as many reanimated demons before they even reanimate. So Adam, like I said, they're chanting, Nibirius is chanting, trying to bring a demon into Adam, and a smoke cloud envelops Adam. And it's this black smoke cloud that's going into his nose and his mouth, kind of thing. But somehow Adam is able to still beat it out. And it turns out that Adam got his soul. And while they were fighting earlier, Adam was able to make a couple gashes across Nibirius's chest. 3 gashes across his chest. Well, the 3 gashes and then one long one across, that's the sign of the gargoyles. And he needed to get close to Nibirius, so he kind of let this happen. And he just makes one long middle gash, making the gargoyle symbol, which destroys Nibirius and burns down the whole factory and brings it down to this giant chasm to descend into hell. All the bodies, all the other demons, everything that was in this area is going down into this chasm in hell. And it's all crashing down. So Leonore and the other 2 bro gargoyles need to get out of there. So they're flying up and they're trying to get out of there. Adam and Dr. Wade are stuck in the lab too. They're trying to get out of there. And at the last second, Leonore and the 2 bro gargoyles fly out. And they each have, one of them has Adam, one of them has Dr. Wade. They get to the cathedral, and Dr. Wade is just but where's the journal? And Adam says, I don't need it anymore. Apparently, at some point, he had gotten rid of it. He had burned it. He left it. I don't know. Then she grabs his hand. She does trust him. He can be trusted. He's not a monster. He doesn't behave like a monster. And this is where the final outro goes. And he does this one last monologue. And the monologue concludes with, I, descender of the demon horde. I, father of my son. I, Frankenstein. And the credits roll. Motherfucker. Oh my God. Okay, so there's a quote that somebody had said, and I think this makes complete sense, especially with a movie like this one, about how we need to stop remaking good movies and start remaking bad movies with good concepts. Because I think this would be a fitting one for that. I like the concept of this movie. I think there's an interesting story there. However, I think they really flubbed it. There's a lot wrong with this one. I think there's a very interesting story that could be fleshed out in what was created here That being said, I do not think we have it in this particular story. As I was looking also on reviews here, one of the critics said that Aaron Eckhart couldn't save this in his valiant efforts. I disagree with that entirely. And I like Aaron Eckhart, honestly. Thank You for Smoking, fantastic. He's a great Two-Face in Dark Knight. He was one note the entire time, and it's a tough character to be, but legitimately, I think this character was like, there was no emotion, there was no characterization, nothing. Like I think his character was one monotone voice the entire time, and it drove me nuts because I know how well he can do other characters. He is such a charismatic guy, and especially like the two movies I already mentioned, that's what he does so well. He is charismatic. And so like this character is so boring because it is so one note. I think that's what killed this movie, is the fact that you have this charismatic actor in this one note role. I actually think some of the other roles in this movie, truthfully, I think they ate a lot better. Bill Nighy kind of sleptwalked through this, I will say. I didn't really care for a lot of his stuff. I don't think he was as good a villain. I don't think he like chewed scenery the whole time. I will say his one line though, where it's like, "You want him back? Show me how." I thought that was pretty good, but I think that was just a killer line. I think that's one of those a great line in a terrible movie. Dr. Wade was fine. I think she Yvonne Strahovski, I think she was she did well. I don't think she had a lot to go with, but I think she did well for it. Miranda Otto, I can't say anything bad about her. Jai Courtney was fine. Yeah, the dialogue was rough in certain places. I've made it clear my big issue was just going off the action. I think they did that a lot. I think they made it more of a talkie than they needed to when there was a bunch of action they could have shown. And I don't know if that's a budget thing, like if they were trying to stick to a budget, especially because it was an expensive movie. Like this movie was an expensive movie for how often they tried to save money. Like it makes me wonder how much further they could have gone out of budget if they actually showed some of the fights. I wonder where this movie could have gone if it just kept going with like show all the gargoyles, show all of the demons, like that kind of stuff. I wonder where it could have gone. I think we could have gotten to a $100,000 or $100 million budget. I wonder about that. I really do. Yeah, that was a killer in the fact that like it was a $65 million budget and yet we still didn't see a lot of the action. That was weird for me. Trying to think of a rating for this, and I've got my number. I just don't have my like what my rating scale is. It's a 0.75 for me on this one. A 0.75 mad scientist freezing in the north chasing after a monster. That's a dumb storyline, but whatever. That's a brilliant scientist brings a creature back to life from the dead and then freezes in the north. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Whatever. Cool. He's able to bring life back from the dead, but also freezes in the north. Whatever. Revenge makes us do crazy things, I guess. So, yeah. I wish this movie was better. I really do. I think there's a good story that could come out of this that just wasn't. And I wish there was. I really do, because I think we we could have used a fun. Part of me kind of wishes this wasn't like a Frankenstein movie. Like if it was just, I think if you just reanimated demons and brought like, just, I don't know, can you reanimate people to bring demon souls into them? I think that would be just a fine thing in itself. You don't need Frankenstein except for, I get that they brought it back because of the reanimation process and stuff like that, but other than that, I don't know if you need to tie it to Frankenstein. I think maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Cuz you could make it a more charismatic action hero by just making it an action hero. Like it's just a dude that's like fighting with the gargoyles and he just wants to be a loner just because, but he's not like, I'm just a loner because I'm a loner. I'm just a loner because I'm a monster in a world of humans and gargoyles and demons. Oh God, look at me, it's raining. Or is that my tears? Like that's what it felt like, kind of. You know, it's that's kind of what it felt like most of the time. Like he just wanted to be a monster because he's a monster. Everybody calls him a monster and he's a monster. You know, that's kind of what it felt like. Whereas you could just be like, ah, man, I'm fighting against these things because they're demons and I just want to fight against them. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying for. It's a weird concept because I think it could work without the Frankenstein stuff. You'd have to develop it a little differently. And that's where I get stuck. But I don't want to like redevelop this movie. I think you have a concept that's interesting enough that you just biffed it. Like you just absolutely biffed it. And with somebody like Aaron Eckhart, I was kind of hoping for it. But yeah, you biffed it. Plain and simple, you biffed it. That's just what it is. And that's why some of these monster movies lately haven't done well. And it's like I said, this was supposed to be because of like The Bride coming out. And it's not like The Bride was much better, you know? Yeah, I wish I could even say like that was doing so much better. I mean, it was better overall. But even that, not like it was doing so much better, you know? So yeah, just a tough one. Just a really tough one. I wanted this one to be so much better when it originally came out. And that is what's tough, is like I wanted this to be such a better movie. Unfortunately, it's just not what happened. Yeah. Dang. But you know, that's I Frankenstein. If it was better, I wouldn't have covered it. I wouldn't have watched it on DVD, and I wouldn't have paid whatever I'm going to be paying the next time I go to the library for it. So I can't believe I'm paying a fee for this movie. That's very disappointing. But yeah. So that is I Frankenstein. This has been the Game for a Movie podcast. We have another one coming out hopefully next week. I really want to get it out for next week because next week Super Mario Galaxy comes out, and I have a fun, bad Chris Pratt movie. So if you are listening to this right now, make sure you get in on the bad movie game. I'm already telling you right this second, it is a bad Chris Pratt movie. Something earlier in his career. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. This is going to be trash. I am so excited for it. Like, it is trash. But yeah, so get ready for that. Get in on the bad movie game. Yeah, I have been Mike, your host for the Game for a Movie podcast, where we ask, are you game for a movie? I will see you next time. Bye.